Hi, and welcome to Find What Moves You. My name is Tracy, and it is my dream to inspire people to stay active and healthy for their entire lives. Today, I'm really excited to have with me Gray Dickson. Gray, welcome. Gray is a personal trainer, and I'm really excited to talk to you about that. But first of all, I just want to know about you.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for having me on the show. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Thunder Bay. A couple of you may have heard about my dad, Alan Dickson, photographer in town.
Kind of Thunder Bay famous
Yeah, a little bit, I think so. Maybe you might hear him here and there. But I grew up in a very creative household. My parents are both entrepreneurs, and I kind of like that get after it attitude and kind of following what moves you, following your passion. And throughout my life, those passions have kind of like shifted back and forth, and some of them have been able to converge with personal training. So throughout like my childhood, high school, college, all throughout there, I wasn't a very active person. I was the kind of typical class nerd, like my comic books, computer games, all that kind of stuff. Didn't really participate in any kind of sports, but in 2013, the Man of Steel movie came out, and I saw Henry Cavill. He was coming out of the ocean. He was shirtless. He was looking awesome, and I was like, "That's what I want to look like one day." That's a nerd who is able to get himself in proper superhero shape.
Okay, so I've known you for a while.
Yeah.
You went to school with my son, so you were friends with him.
Yep.
And then when you came to college, I was teaching at the college. You were in the nutrition program there.
Exactly.
I was your teacher.
Yep.
And then we ended up working together at the same gym, personal training.
Yep.
So what I really like about doing this show is what you just told me.
Yeah.
So I had no idea about any of that. I do know that you're very fit now. So you found the beginning of your fitness journey.
Yep.
And then what?
So, like I said, I saw the way that Henry Cavill was portraying Superman, told myself I wanted to get to that level too, and started working out with some friends. I had one of my good buddies named Mitchell. We would go to the Fit for Less, just because, that was a good spot for starters, and he'd come by my house, get in the car, we're going to work out, helped me with that motivation quite a lot. Having a friend to help you with that can be a really excellent way to build up a solid routine. So yeah, he would take me to the gym. We went over some lifting fundamentals, got into a good routine, and then went to a couple conventions. I had some people say, "Hey, you've gotten into some pretty good shape by now." And I was like, "Okay, maybe this is something I want to push a little bit further." And so I actually then joined Movati after that because I knew it was a bigger gym. They had more equipment, they had more classes, instructors available, that kind of stuff. And it was a little bit more of a serious environment. So I joined up with them. I even got myself my own personal trainer. His name was Calvin. He was excellent. And he sparked my passion for fitness. So he was able to take those kind of beginner pieces that I had from training with Mitchell to actually piecing together what a solid program looks like, what all the different terminology is going to mean, like your supersetting, your progressive overloading, what your macros are, all that kind of stuff. And that kind of revealed to me, okay, there's actually more of a science to this than just, going in and lifting weights and pretending you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Right.
So that really opened my eyes to how intricate working out was. And I was like, okay, well, this is something I could actually see myself doing on the other side,
So that's when you made the decision that you wanted to be a personal trainer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it was after I had those sessions with him, and I saw a real change in my own physique, just going from amateur, not really professionally guided, to then having that really clear path to success. And so, yeah, following what he taught me and doing my own research online, lots of reading on forums, lots of hours on YouTube, just absorbing as much knowledge as I could on how I could better myself and continue on with that journey that I'd started on.
So when did you actually decide to take the personal training program?
So that was in 2016. So I had about 3 years that I was training by myself and with Mitchell before then. And then, after a couple of years, I decided it's time to take it a little bit more seriously. I want to see some more serious results. And definitely having a personal trainer changed the way that I saw everything. And that, like I said, put me on the path to becoming a trainer myself.
Okay. So have you had any thoughts of I know where you are right now with your journey. Have you had any thoughts of like building your own programs, like books, doing your own podcast, maybe anything like that?
Yeah, so there have been a couple things on the back burner right now. As you know, with your son, I was in the drama program with him at Superior
You
there.
are a dramatic kind of person.
Yeah, a little bit, I can
Yeah.
be. But I also took the film program there too, and that was something I took a lot of interest in as well. And so what I've been kind of working on for myself is a little bit of an acting and directing portfolio. So specifically, maybe a little bit more into the fan film genre. I do a lot of cosplay as well, so a good chunk of my workout dedication is kind of focused on that superhero-centric kind of vibe. As you can tell, I am representing today.
Yeah, I see that, and I'm so happy that you wore that because I've seen you at work many times with full-on upper body superhero gear on, and I quite enjoy that. You teach a kids program.
Yep. So they
young
quite
young
enjoyed
persons.
that.
They're not like really little kids. They're
Oh, it was about 8 to 13 years old.
yeah.
Yeah.
And every time you're teaching that program, you always have a different one on. I think I
Yep.
asked you at one time how many superhero shirts you own.
Yeah, I've got a collection.
Yeah, the answer was like, I don't know.
I think 13 for the more spandexy type ones,
Yeah.
and then I have a couple more, as you said, the super suits. And
Yeah.
so that's actually a partnership that I have right now with a company called SuperX.
Okay.
And so they make a kind of dumbed down version of like imitating a superhero, but in activewear, which I thought was a really good amalgamation of my passion. So I get a little bit of that geek side in there, but also with that fitness passion in there too.
Okay, I just want to know, do you have like a particular philosophy or approach when it comes to training other people?
I would say when it comes to just like training in general, I always want to make sure that whether it's myself or with my clients, we're constantly pushing ourselves. We're pushing that envelope, right? So whether it's, just getting a little bit more weight on the bar or whether it's just getting out that one last rep, that one extra rep, it's just that constant improvement, It's that step-by-step way of going about it. You can't expect to go from 0 to 100 like that. You got to take it incrementally and let the process happen.
Right. So I think I've been training with other people at certain times. I think I'm a kill you softly kind of person.
Yeah.
So I don't have that really, really hard push, but I've heard your voice across the gym, and I think we have different philosophies.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
So I want to talk to you a whole bunch more about training, strength training. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Find What Moves You. We are here talking to Gray Dickson. And Gray, I just want to talk to you a little bit about what people can expect when they see a personal trainer, and then we'll talk about why we would do that. So we're just meeting our personal trainer. What can we expect?
Sure. So I would say a good process for a person to go through when they are seeing a personal trainer would be that trainer is going to be assessing their movements. So whether that be through a movement assessment beforehand to see how they're moving, if they have any impingements in their range of motion, if they have like any excessive tightness or tension going on in certain areas too. I think a good baseline would be that trainer getting to know your physicality and seeing how you are moving right now and how we will be able to remedy that going forward and then build upon it.
So you'll be looking for any present injuries or injuries of the past.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So for you, what do you think is the most important part of someone going from where they are now to where they want to be? What gets you there?
100% dedication. So it's definitely a discipline. Like I said, it's going that bit by bit, one step at a time to reach your goal. I would say building yourself, a good habit of whether it's making it into the gym or just getting into any kind of sport that you like. Just getting active. So once you're getting into that habit of today, all right, even though I may not want to today, I'm still getting out there, I'm still getting after it because I know that I'm still putting in my little bit for today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really taking it like way back, somebody who's never heard of personal training before, what would you say it is? what is personal training?
So personal training, to me, is a physical coaching where typically it's going to be a one-on-one experience. So very different from a classroom style where you'll have, 10, 15, 30 people all being taught by one person, to then having that, as it's in the name, personal touch. So you have that one-on-one experience, and that trainer is going to provide you not only with a well of knowledge, but they're going to be having that second set of eyes on you. So in a case where, let's say, you don't have a mirror where you can check what your form is like for a certain move, you'll have that trainer watching you and saying, okay, let's tweak this a little bit, let's fine tune that, this was good, this we need to work on. That's going to be that biggest benefit of having the trainer is now you have that professional being able to give you that full professional coaching.
So the importance of proper form.
Exactly, yep.
So I've often seen people in classes, if the form is not good, and what's the result of that, of the not having proper form? It's going to be injury, right?
It can be, for sure.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot of benefit. Now, there are people at all different stages of their fitness journey. So who benefits from working with a trainer?
Everybody. So it depends on what your goals are, depends on what you're wanting to achieve, how quickly you want to achieve it, and whether or not you need that extra little push to get you there. I think whether you're starting off and you don't know what you're doing, getting that professional to say, okay, here's the plan for today, here's all the moves that we're going to do, here's why we're doing them and why it's going to benefit you. That's an excellent place for a beginner to start off with, because now they can go essentially from 0 to 100 in the ability to have their confidence in that workout. So instead of them walking in and just, I don't know what machine to be using, they know what they're using for the day. They're using X, Y, Z. And then when it comes to a more advanced person, they might be doing really well in their physical journey, but now they are hitting a plateau or they're getting a little bit stagnant in their progress. And okay, maybe I don't have the knowledge to fill in the gaps where I am right now. Now I should get someone who is doing this full time and makes that their priority in life to then fill in those gaps for me and get me to where I want to be.
Okay.
So it can apply to everybody.
So I believe that strength training is probably the best way to get from point A to point B.
Definitely,
right?
I agree with you.
So a lot of people believe that it's, strictly cardio. People think it's just, pushing weights. So take me through that. If I want to lose, just say I want to lose 20 pounds, we'll go there. How am I getting there?
So there's a couple different ways that you can go about that. So like I said, as long as you're doing something to get you towards your goal, that's number one. But I would say in my kind of approach, strength training is going to be a good focus point at the beginning, because then you're going to be able to increase your lean body mass, which is going to speed up your metabolism. It's also going to be burning fat while you are doing the exercise as well. That's one thing not a lot of people think about when it comes to strength training, is that, you might get your heart going on the cardio, but you'll also get your heart going when you're lifting, 20, 50, 100 pounds, more than that. You're challenging your body, and it's going to respond to that.
So you just mentioned something really important that I don't think, and you even said, a lot of people don't understand. So just speak a little bit about when we have that extra lean muscle tissue as far as burning fat goes. So just a little bit on that, if you could.
Yeah, so the way I've had it kind of compared for me in the past was that essentially you can kind of think of fat or calories as fuel, and your body is the engine. So if you're going to build some muscle, you're going to be adding some cylinders on that engine. It's going to become bigger. It's going to burn more fuel. So that's where, like I said, you'll be able to burn more fat when you have more muscle, because now your body by default is just burning more energy. And then doing your strength training, you're burning energy while you're doing the exercise. You're burning energy while you're healing and recuperating after the fact too. And then you get that third benefit of burning even more energy just existing in a more physically fit shape.
So I've also had the issue with some clients, and even with myself. When I fall off and I get back, I start building the muscle again. People watch their scale. The scale actually is going up sometimes.
Yep.
So can you speak to that as well?
So one of the things that I'll tell some of my clients too is don't base a lot of your expectations on the scale. Don't be looking at the scale for your go-to answer, because as you know, muscle weighs more than fat. It's more dense. It'll also hold more water. So one of the things when that scale is moving up, you may be getting a more density in your bones. So your bones are getting stronger through your strength training. You're building that muscle fiber, which is going to be giving you that leaner, stronger physique. So I would say if you're going to be looking at your results, do it a little bit more so in the mirror. So how you look, how you feel, what your energy level is like, that to me is going to matter more than the number on the scale.
I think people know when they're comfortable or uncomfortable, the way your clothes are fitting. You generally know if you need to do something.
Yeah.
I agree with that. The scale is not my favorite measure either. So we have so much more to talk about. Just sit right there and we'll be back in a few minutes. Hi, and welcome back to Find What Moves You. We are here talking with Gray Dickson about personal training and the importance of strength training. So, Gray, there's something unfortunate about personal training in that it is expensive.
It can be,
It's people's job. You have to pay for it. You need to get paid. Now, not everyone can afford that. So, if someone, say, can't manage personal training, what do you suggest?
So there are also a couple things that you can do there. So earlier in the show, I talked about the way that I got started. So I had a good friend who was already a little bit more knowledgeable in the gym than myself. So that's a good thing. You find somebody that's got a little bit more knowledge than you, and they can help kind of coach you through some things. The other thing is going to be doing your own research. So going online, whether you're watching YouTube videos, forums, plenty of Instagram pages, Facebook pages, all that kind of stuff. You're going to have a lot of options available to get that extra knowledge. Nowadays, we also do have the benefit of having apps on the App Store. So a lot of fitness apps are on there too. If you have no clue what you're doing, you don't know what exercises to be incorporating for your day or how to achieve the goals that you want to achieve, and you don't have the resources to get a trainer, checking out some of those apps can be a good way, because you'll be able to break down, again, those moves, weights, what's being hit, why it's working for you. So yeah, just doing a little bit of internet research, I think, will get you pretty far.
Okay, so I'm going to take you from that end where people are just starting out, maybe don't have the funds, to all the way over to the other end of the spectrum where people have been working out for a long time, things are going well, but now they've plateaued. Any advice?
So are we talking about incorporating a personal trainer into this mix, or?
I'm just we're going to talk about you. So what changes would you make for yourself?
Sure. So if I was hitting a plateau and I wanted to push myself further and I was finding difficulty with that, I'd reach out to, again, a trainer or a coach who is more knowledgeable than me. Because they'll be able to figure out, a different plan of attack. They'll have run into experiences in the past where it's like, oh, I had a client who had the same kind of wall that you're running into. Here's how I remedied it with them. So I think if you're already experienced, just finding somebody who is more experienced and more dedicated than you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just a couple of scenarios for you. If I'm, say, rehabbing from surgery, like what can I do? What sorts of things do you think that we should be doing if we're, if we're not, our bodies aren't working the way they're supposed to?
So if you're going through a recovery like that, number one, you're going to want to be following what advice and what instructions you're getting from your general practitioner, family doctor,
of course,
physiotherapist. That's going to be number one, especially post-surgery. But I would say you don't want to abandon the work that you're putting in. You still want to be putting in that time, even if it's a lighter work, even if it's something like if you're weightlifting before and that's tough and challenging, post-surgery you might be able to get a workout in a lot sooner and a lot easier by going into a swim class, or opting for something like that, or doing some non-impact cardio. So you've got a lot of options to stay active and to help get yourself back into that routine slowly but surely.
So strength training is not a one size fits all. Would you agree with that?
I would say so,
Like,
yeah.
if you
It's a case by case for
if,
sure.
If you have, say, a woman 45 to 60 years old coming in to see you that wants to lose weight, I mean, you have to really know a lot of things, because if I'm okay, 45 to 60 years old, I would come in to see you and I want to lose weight, then is that going to be different from someone who's like in their early 20s and wants to gain muscle mass?
So that one, like I said, it's case by case. You want to see if they have anything particular in their current condition that might limit them in a way that, let's say, this 21-year-old wouldn't have that limitation. But at the end of the day, you know, we all have generally the same amount of bones, same amount of muscles. They all move in the same directions most of the time. So for a good portion of it, I would say just keeping people like increasing their knowledge on the different aspects that we can work on with working out. So if someone is 50 to 60, they can still move weights. It doesn't have to be just the 20-something-year-old, 30-something-year-old who's working out and building their muscle. Like I said, if you're looking to lose body fat, increasing your lean mass is going to be a great way to help do that. So I would say case by case. Resistance training is going to be your best friend, but if they need something in particular, then definitely tailor to that.
I love that you just said resistance training. I was just going to ask you, what is resistance training? What does that mean?
So resistance training can come in many different forms. A lot of the times people will just go to dumbbells, barbells, big weights that are going on racks, and people are pumping their arms and legs.
Yeah.
So that's a portion of resistance training. You can incorporate other options like cable training. So now, instead of just fighting the force of gravity, you're now fighting a force pulling in a different direction. So that challenges you in a bit of a different way. So it's not the same type of exercise. You can also incorporate resistance training through something like elastic bands, where now instead of that single constant weight that you're moving, it increases in difficulty the further you go through the move. So again, a totally different aspect that's coming in from a totally different piece of equipment. Other options for resistance training can also be something like swimming. So now instead of the resistance of the air you're pushing through the resistance of water. So it's a lot more dense, a lot more work.
That's something that people don't understand. The resistance training doesn't just have to be pushing the weights.
Exactly.
So something I know that you work with is breath. Like when and how to use your breath when you are doing resistance training. So a little bit there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So breath work is pretty key when it comes to resistance training, whether it is lifting the weights or using the other equipment like I was talking about. To my knowledge and the way that I coach it, we want to be exhaling on the contraction of the muscle that we're working and inhaling on the eccentric motion of the muscle.
Oh, those are big words.
Yeah.
Can you like bring that down a
Sure.
notch or two?
Sure. So let's say if we're talking about a bicep curl, the contraction is going to be curling the weight up. The eccentric is the muscle stretching back down to the original position.
Okay. So you just did that. Can you show like with your breath? Could you just?
Yeah, sure. So again, if you've got the weights there, you're exhaling on the contraction of the muscle, inhaling when the muscle is stretching back. So what I've been told in my education, the reason for that breath work is not only to get that oxygen in there, because you need air to work out, but it's that exhale that's going to be key for that contracting motion, because now you are bracing the core. That diaphragm is pulling up, those abs are tensing in, so it braces the core, it's giving you a little bit more strength.
I just have to stop you right there, Gray. It's so much good information. We could probably do another one.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time.